Traffic. Traffic. Clear of conflict.
Airbus 320 contact Guangzhou departure on 124.0. Good day.
124.0 Airbus 320. Goodbye. Guangzhou departure Airbus 320 is passing 1,000 feet, climbing 7,000 feet.
Airbus 320 Gwangju, departure altimeter 29.9er, 2 radar contact, continue to Seoul. Airbus 320 climb and maintain 14,000 feet.
Climb and maintain 14,000 feet. Airbus 320.
Airbus 320 contact Incheon Center on 125.45. Good day.
125.45 Airbus 320. Goodbye. Incheon Center Airbus 320 is at 8,500 feet, climbing 14,000 feet.
Airbus 320 Incheon Center altimeter 29.9er, 2 radar contact, continue to Seoul. Airbus 320 climb and maintain flight level 180.
Climb and maintain flight level 180 Airbus 320.
traffic is 5 o'clock 4 miles at flight level 180 Airbus A20N. Report them in sight. Airbus 320 traffic is 12 o'clock 4 miles at 16,100 feet Airbus A20N. Report them in sight.
Airbus 320 have the traffic.
Gene Air 512 heavy traffic in sight. Korean Air 2190 heavy, you are tree 6 miles southeast. Descend and maintain 3,600 feet, expect ILS runway tree right approach via Impel transition. Clear to Impel. Cathay 4 tree 4 heavy contact Seoul approach on 119.1. Good day. Descend and maintain 3,600 feet. Expect ILS runway tree right approach via Impel transition. Clear to Impel Korean Air 2190 heavy. Korean Air 2190 heavy contact Seoul approach on 121.35. Good day. Korean Air 2190 heavy. Goodbye. Jeju Air 1326 heavy contact Seoul approach on 119.05. Good day. Airbus 320 descend and maintain 10,000 feet. Keep speed not above 250 knots.
Descend and maintain 10,000 feet. Keep speed not above 250 knots. Airbus 320.
119.05 Jeju Air 1326 heavy. Goodbye. approach on 119.05. Good day. 05 Gene Air 512 Heavy. Goodbye. Airbus 320 contact Seoul approach on 119.05. Good day.
119.05 Airbus 320. Goodbye. Seoul approach Airbus 320 10,100 feet.
Airbus 320 Seoul approach altimeter 29.92 radar contact. Continue to Bumpsy. Airbus 320, you are tree 2 miles southeast. Descend and maintain 8,000 feet. Expect ILS runway tree 2 right approach via Bumpsy transition. Clear to Bumpsy.
Descend and maintain 8,000 feet. Expect ILS runway tree 2 right approach via Bumpsy transition. Cleared to Bumpsy Airbus 320.
Airbus 320 descend and maintain 5,300 feet.
Descend and maintain 5,300 feet. Airbus 320.
Gene Air 512 heavy traffic is 6 o'clock 4 miles at 8,000 feet Airbus A20N. Report them in sight. Airbus 320 traffic is 11 o'clock 4 miles at 5,200 feet Airbus A20N. Report them in sight.
Airbus 320 traffic in sight.
Airbus 320 descend and maintain 4,000 feet.
Descend and maintain 4,000 feet. Airbus 320.
Gene Air 512 heavy traffic in sight. Airbus 320 descend and maintain 2,800 feet.
Descend Descend and maintain 2,800 feet Airbus Tree 20.
Airbus Tree 20 descend and maintain 2,300 feet.
Descend and maintain 2,300 feet Airbus Tree 20.
Gene Air 512 Heavy, you are 8 miles southeast of Gimpo. Contact Gimpo Tower on 118.05 when inbound.
2,500.
J2 Air 1326 Heavy, contact Incheon Center on 125.45. Good day. Airbus Tree 20, you are 9 miles southeast of Gimpo.
2,500.
Contact Gimpo Tower on 118.05 when inbound on the approach.
Tower on 118.05 Airbus Tree 20. Gimpo Tower Airbus Tree 208 miles southeast, inbound ILS runway Tree 2 right approach.
Airbus Tree 20 Gimpo Tower. Altimeter 29er.9er, 2 wind calm, cleared ILS runway Tree 2 right approach.
Gimpo Tower Airbus Tree 20 inbound ILS runway Tree 2 right approach.
Airbus Tree 20 Gimpo Tower. Altimeter 29er.9er, 2 wind calm, cleared ILS runway Tree 2 right approach. Cleared to land runway Tree 2 right, Korean Air 2106 Heavy.
Cleared ILS runway Tree 2 right approach Airbus Tree 20.
Gimpo Tower Gene Air 512 Heavy, 8 miles southeast, inbound 4 DME runway Tree 2 right approach. Gene Air 512 Heavy, Gimpo Tower. Altimeter 29er.9er, 2 wind calm, cleared VOR DME runway Tree 2 right approach. Airbus Tree 20 number 2 for landing. Follow the aircraft on short final. Wind calm, cleared to land runway Tree 2 right. Korean Air.
Cleared to land runway Tree 2 right number 2 Airbus Tree 20.
Cleared to land runway Tree 2 right number 2 Gene Air 512 Heavy. Korean Air 2106 Heavy number Tree for landing. Follow the aircraft on final. Wind calm, cleared to land runway Tree 2 right. Cleared to land runway Tree 2 right number Tree Korean Air 2106 Heavy. Jeju Air 1 Tree 26 Heavy number 4 for landing. Follow the aircraft on final. Wind calm, cleared to land runway Tree 2 right.
400.
Cleared to land runway Tree 2 right number 4 Jeju Air 1 Tree 26 Heavy.
Two hundred. 100. 50, 40, 30, 20, Retard. 10. 5. Retard.
Airbus tree 20, turn next taxiway. Gene Air Fight 12 Heavy, go around. Going around Gene Air Fight 12 Heavy. Jeju Air 1 tree 26 Heavy, go around. Gene Air Fight 12 Heavy, contact Seoul approach on 119.05. Good day. Airbus tree 20, contact ground on 121.9. Going to 119.05 Gene Air Fight 12 Heavy. Going around Jeju Air 1 tree 26 Heavy. Jeju Air 1 tree 26 Heavy, contact Seoul approach on 12.25. Good day.
Going to 121.9 Airbus 320. Gimpo ground Airbus 320 taxi to the gate.
Airbus tree 20, taxi to gate 16 using taxiway.
Taxiing to gate 16 via taxiway Airbus 320. Gimpo ground Airbus 320. Could you please connect the jetway to the aircraft?
Airbus tree 20, the jetway is going to be connected.
Gimpo ground Airbus 320. Could you please send a fuel truck?
Airbus tree 20, a fuel truck is on the road.
Gimpo ground Airbus 320. Could you please send a ground power unit?
Airbus tree 20, a ground power unit is on the road.
Gimpo ground Airbus 320. Could you please send the baggage?
Airbus tree 20, baggage is on the way.
Gimpo ground Airbus 320. Could you please send the catering truck?
Airbus tree 20, the catering truck is on the road.
ACU press indicator. Check. Park BRK handle. On. Brakes press indicator. Check. Anti-ice. Off. APU bleed push button switch. On. All engine masters. Off. Slide disarmed. Check. Seat belt switch. Off. Beacon lights. Off. Other exterior lights. As required. Fuel pumps. Off. ATC. STBY. APU bleed. On. Engines. Off. Seat belts. Off. Exterior lights. As required. Fuel pumps. Off. Park brake and shocks. As required. Transponder. As required. Park BRK. On. Oxygen crew supply push button. Off. All IR mode selectors. Off. Exterior lights. Off. APU bleed push button switch. Off. EXT PWR push button. Off. APU master SW. Off. Emergency exit LT switch. Off. Signs switch. Off. BAT 1 and 2. Off. ADIRS. Off. Oxygen. Off. APU bleed. Off. EMER exit LT. Off. Signs. Off. APU and BAT 1 to 2. Off.